Well,
Hello, sir.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So all these years, I'm making fun of you for being Neanderthal.
You were?
Yes, I have been. I've called
Oh,
you
to who?
Neanderthal. To you?
This is news to me. So you've been going around behind my back calling me a Neanderthal to people?
No, I've called you a Neanderthal.
To my face.
I'm pretty
I don't
sure.
think this is the way you expect this conversation to go.
You already knew that I was going to talk about
I had
this.
no idea that you've been calling me a Neanderthal to the general public. But please elaborate.
Not to the general public, just to you.
And
And I have confirmed that you probably were a Neanderthal.
super. Care to tell me how?
Well, our daughter has started university, and one of the courses she's taking is archaeology. And she's already deemed herself better than Indiana Jones.
We've discussed this. Indiana Jones was a example.
Archaeologist, yeah. But he was dreamy in his archaeology outfit.
Hey,
Back
rugged
in
and
the day.
masculine, yeah. Fighting Nazis.
I'm loving him now and drinking. Anywho, so she's learning about the different, like the evolution of Homo sapiens, essentially. And right when Homo sapiens were breaking off, they were cousins with the Neanderthal. I can't remember the exact names of everything. And so they kind of cross bred, essentially. So we do have potentially a Neanderthal heritage in some of us. And redheads are deemed probably Neanderthals. And she's redhead.
As is your mom and several of your aunts. Let's expand this view a little bit more. Like if you're, oh, I was
I'm
just about to
sitting
warn
too
you.
close to the show.
If we're gonna offend people, let's offend your whole family. So sorry, you were saying redheads are Neanderthals. Continue. Like,
No, from your line.
oh, my line. Sorry, how many redheads do we have on my side?
Okay. Well, I'm apparently the hot mom.
No, you can't just say I'm a Neanderthal and drop a 90-degree turn to complimenting yourself.
It can't be me. Well, Maya had a friend over the other day. She's like, "Oh my gosh, is that your mom? She's hot." And then later on, she's telling the group, "Maya's mom is so hot. Show us a picture." And we're like, "Oh my gosh, she's so hot." And they're like, "How old is she?" And Maya told them my age. And they're like, "There's no way. She looks like she's 35. Yes.
So, okay.
I'm hitting a lot of stuff around me. I keep hurting myself.
And you know why?
But
Karma, because you're being a jerk right now. So the head hit and the elbow that just bonked, that's just karma coming around. You can't say that your husband's a Neanderthal with zero proof, although your family is the proof. But cool, I'm the Neanderthal. And then you flex on everybody saying you're the hot mom.
I wouldn't ever say that I was, but I'm just saying what I'm just passing along information from
say it, but you got no problem repeating it.
Just passing along my observations. Although when I said, because she's like, I'm probably Neanderthal, but she's like, but it's highly contested. It's highly contested. There's no actual proof. It's highly contested as of yet.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because today's topic is what to do with a spouse that's absolutely out to lunch and how that affects parenting.
Out to lunch how?
Just hit a 30-second rewind on this intro.
What? On reality? Should I talk about my little Tasmanian devil with his whips?
I don't even know where you're going with that.
Oh, did I not tell you?
The hell are you talking about?
Oh my gosh, that's for another day.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll have to animate. It's this little Tasmanian devil with whips and he's wiggling around and there's like little wiggly lines.
Do you see him right now?
I do not.
Do you see him regularly?
Once.
When?
Never mind. Have you ever seen Fantasia?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a scene out of Fantasia. And both girls.
Oh, is this when you were in Georgia?
No, it was just the other morning here.
In the bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do
we need to put a reminder about mental health supports in here?
But here's the thing.
What?
I'm totally lucid. I'm totally aware that it's not real. I think it would be more of a problem if I'm going to lower this.
Did
So now it seems
did the dogs pick up on anything? Like that dude that has the dog that's trained to.
which is so cool.
I showed you that, right?
Yeah.
So for context, guy posted a video on like TikTok or Instagram or something, which is amazing. So he has, I can't remember what he calls it, but basically he hallucinates. Like he sees.
He has schizophrenia, doesn't he?
Yeah, something like that. But he termed what he sees as a specific type of hallucination. But his service dog is trained to greet only real people. So when he's having what he would like to ensure that he understands the difference between hallucination in real life, he turns to his dog, and if his dog is not greeting the person, he realizes it's a hallucination, which is phenomenal.
It's so cool.
It's even cooler that it's like a corgi. Like it's the weirdest service dog I've ever seen. But anyways. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Sorry for calling you Neanderthal. It was interesting, though.
It's interesting how you assumed I was the Neanderthal. That's the interesting part. All right, enough of this. Let's get down to it. Another anthropologist is the topic of what we're talking about today.
I started anthropology. That's
the whole
started
practice of anthropology you started?
No, I started studying anthropology.
Before anybody else. Like you were into anthropology before it was cool, so you're like an anthropology hipster.
No.
You don't get to call me a Neanderthal and walk away unscathed. This is going to be a rough episode for you. All right. So a gentleman named Barry Hewlett. So there's an editorial piece in the New York Times. We can link to it. It's probably behind a paywall, but whatever. Basically, it's referring to how what we've spoken before about helicopter parenting, right? And our views on helicopter parenting. He makes a case for how helicopter parents need to ignore their children more, but not like abandon them, but just go about their business. And so what he's basically saying that so Barry Hewlett is the anthropologist in question that wrote the piece, and he studies child rearing in hunter-gatherer societies in Central Africa, right? So explains that children in those societies spend lots of time with their parents. They tag along throughout the day and
Wait.
What?
Hold. I'm going to be right back. I'm leaving, but I'll be right back. I'm back. I'll let you finish your spiel. And then I'm going to show you what I just...
Spiel? You mean the setup for our topic today?
Yeah. I'll let you finish it.
All right.
I'm going to show you what I've got behind my back.
Like, listener, maybe reach out to me when you're listening to this episode and just do a safety check and make sure I'm okay, because I have no idea what's going on right now. So anyways, these children in the society spend a lot of time tagging along with their parents, right? So their parents are often doing things that is survival based, right? And so they tag along, but they're rarely the main focal point of that parent's attention. That parent is focused on things like getting food or cleaning or doing whatever. And the kid has to come along because that's just how the society works. So because of that, it's essentially forcing that kid to understand how they deal with boredom, how they engage, how they help, how they do different things, because the parent is doing these things. The expectation is that they're just there, but they're not there to entertain. And we've talked about this before, right? Too many parents entertain. So the opposite being in industrialized, the contemporaries in industrialized societies, basically their off time, because they work at places that kids aren't a part of or whatever, it shifts that as soon as they come home, they make their kids the focal point of everything, driving them to sports, spending time with them, doing this, doing that. So and it creates a sense of guilt. And we've talked about this, where we don't spend enough time with our kids. And he's arguing that essentially, no, just you don't have to devote all your attention or your free attention to your kids. Just simply, to a certain degree, bring them along and let them figure it out for themselves. And they'll learn valuable skills as they go. And then they'll also see kind of all the lessons that you would teach them otherwise in terms of how you interact with people and stuff and whatever. But so I thought it was an interesting article, and I wanted to bring it to you because it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it. I'm assuming you'll be kind of on the same page, but what are your thoughts there behind the back? Hunt, Gather, Parent.
Yes.
Is it by Barry Hewlett?
It is not.
Oh, wow. So I wonder if Barry knows this guy.
No. But Hunt, Gather, Parent. But that's essentially it. Like, so this woman went to 4 different sort of indigenous communities around the world to see how they parent, because she's an investigative journalist, and she was going around the world to study viruses.
Yeah.
funny enough, 2017, she saw this pandemic that was going to be coming and she warned people. But anyways, all this to say, or maybe it was 2018. It was before COVID and she knew it. She saw it. But anyways, when she was gone, she was in Mexico, I think, for one. She's like, oh my gosh, what is your daughter doing? It was a day off and her 12-year-old got up, got dressed and came, started to go outside, saw that there was dishes and just went and started doing the dishes. And she's like, what do you guys do for parenting? And so that was what kind of prompted her journey because she was having a lot of troubles with her own daughter. The kind of like to that, she went to the Arctic, I believe. And so looking at the Inuit up there, and they would bring, like they would go ice fishing and they would bring their 6-year-old. 6-year-old was deemed the right age to go ice fishing. But even whatever their age was, they go. Have you ever been ice fishing before?
No, yes, actually once. I have a picture to prove it.
Okay. Was the hole already made?
No, we had to drill it ourselves.
And then did you have to wait 6 hours?
No, don't think we did. I think we showed up probably inebriated and then started drilling a hole because there was like 12 of us. And the only picture I have of the incident has a guy named Chris in the background peeing in the background on the frozen lake while the rest of us sat around a hole doing no amount of fishing.
Is that your brother, Chris?
No, a guy I worked with. This was back in the day.
So to do it properly, you come and drill your hole and then you watch it for 6 hours. And
we watched it. we 100% watched.
Or you, but no, you don't drill the hole. You put a feather in the ice or something like that. I don't know the exact. And then you watch it as soon as it drops, then you drill. But for, a little kid, that's really hard. All this to say, they do bring them along. Just to go back to your point about us feeling guilty, we actually spend more time with our kids than ever before.
100% we do.
Right. And that's part of the problem.
And that's kind of the point he's making is that because of all this focused attention, it's exhausting. There's no ability for a parent just to kind of do their thing and for the kid to kind of come along. It's all about engagement and highly engaged and what's going on with your kid and how is this and how is that. So it's an interesting take because it's essentially, he's making the same case, it sounds like, as this book, which is, like parents are trying to do two things. They're trying to set things up so everybody can survive, but in so doing are teaching the kids the skills that they need to survive.
And one of the biggest things is contribution. And I've always talked about, especially when I go, because I do a lot of consultations with schools, with other professionals, parents, with kiddos who exhibit a lot of behavioral problems, for example. And so one of my number one recommendations is to give them an important job, give them something to contribute because kids, we all want to help, right? Actually, we just saw the play Come From Away, where after 9/11, there was, like 38 flights redirected to Newfoundland, this tiny little town in Newfoundland. Everybody came together. Everybody wants to help, right? Kids are born wanting to help, but it gets along the way extinguished because no, you're too little. No, you're too little. No, you're too little. Or let me redo it again, because it's going to just take us way longer if they help us fold the laundry or to clean up. They're just going to make more of a mess or paint or anything, right? Yep. And so they stop, and that's really sad. And that's part of the problem is they never learn to contribute important jobs. Actually, part of the reason why I came out and filmed you today, I was so excited and so happy that you did this. Andy brought home our side-by-side and it was on this little trailer and he got Willow to back it off the trailer. Yeah. That's a pretty big job, right? And she was like, yes, I'm so excited. And she's like, I've got so many mixed emotions right now, like a little bit of fear. What if I roll it off this tiny trailer? But excitement. And it was awesome that you did that. And we've shared the story of Maya painting our main room. Kids want to help. Right? And we extinguish it. And then all of a sudden we start expecting them to. But this is our job, is to pass along our values and skills for life, starting from very young age, right? They can start cooking. We had a 2-year-old who was cooking us omelets for breakfast. They can, and they want to. And she burned herself, but only once. It was a quick second. She grabbed the pan. She immediately knew that was a bad idea, right? And so, and maybe it is a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I don't know if if I'm even on the topic
That's fine.
that you were looking at, but I think that that's a huge piece when we look at this hunt, gather, parent sort of idea. It's that contribution and community, right? We are helping each other. You are watching, if we have to do this, you are going to watch your younger siblings, right? What's really, she talks about the nuclear family too, like the two parents and two kids, right? That we've developed. Do you know where that came from?
The nuclear family?
Yeah.
I would assume in the US in the 50s.
Oh, why?
Well, that's kind of the nuclear age,
Oh, gotcha.
roughly.
So it was actually the Catholic Church.
Oh.
And this is just, again, probably in anthropology theory, there's no proof, but when you look through the time from the 1500s, really is kind of where it dates back to. And then again, like they start narrowing down in the 1700s, but the Catholic Church started putting rules on not being able to marry and breed with cousins. So back way earlier, like in that 1500s, I mean, there was a huge extended family and it was in your best interest. And I'm not talking like first cousins, right? But
That'd be weird.
That's where they started, was first the Catholic Church in the 1500s. It was like no more with first cousins. That makes sense. There is a lot of, biological problems and things like that. But as we got closer to the 1800s, they said anyone remotely, even sixth cousin, which is, you're essentially not even related then, right? Your sixth cousin. But that's where it just, it wasn't, you didn't see sort of like that extended family anymore. And so it just kind of whittled down until maybe the 15s and what we see now.
Maybe the terminology is more related to that, but I think the concept, the theory is probably longer.
Yeah, for sure. But there's so kids don't have to help all of the other cousins and siblings and, because, well, we've even seen it. Like when we go to Jamaica, we never stay where we're supposed to. They're like, don't go out there, but we go out and we see families and we hang out with families. And it's like great grandparents and all the cousins and all the siblings and all the generations living together. And those older kids are watching the younger ones, right? They have to go get water. They have to help cook. They have to.
And one of the things he talks about as well is in addition to that, like the skills that they develop, it's also important that he sees the act of them having to amuse themselves as they're pulled through this as a critical component to their development. So what he's basically saying is because an idle mind or an inactive mind, or however he words it, is not an idle mind isn't inactive, or vice versa, which is basically they're thinking and they're processing and they're whatever. That goes a long way to making them more empathetic and imaginative, right? Because empathy, obviously, through seeing what you're going through and what you're doing and how you interact with people, but imaginative, because if they're bored, figure it out, right? Figure it out. Like you've got to, well, we've talked about it before where we don't have screens in cars, right? And when the kids were little, it was, you've got two options. You can pack stuff to amuse yourself or you can stare out the window, but those are your amusement options, right? And of course, we sometimes talk and sing and whatever, but for the most part, you got to figure it out yourself. And I think that's the part that jumped out at me. Is it was interesting that idle time, as he goes through and looks at this, and I'm sure your book talks to it as well. That's a piece that I think we've talked about it from an independence standpoint before, right? The kids going, and we were just talking about how the kids learn skills and learn how to do things, but it's also about making them a better person to allow them to process and figure it out and later on contribute in a different way.
And that's part of it. I mean, I've just started reading it. Like I've just gotten to chapter 1. But I kind of I know other pieces and other theories and things like that. And we've talked about boredom. Like it's important. Our brain has 2 modes, the default mode, which is the mind wandering. That's where innovation and creativity and thinking, right? And all the ideas come from, versus the action mode. But it always comes back to screens, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, if kids are just on screens all the time, they're never really going into that default mode to discover. It's just on all the time. Mm-hmm. But even now, like we've got our oldest in universities down in her room reading, it's the weekend, she's down there reading and the other one's coloring, right? And so like that's what they do. That's what they spend. And so they do need that time to explore and yeah, do other things. And that's important for the cognitive development. When we look at empathy, empathy is directly related to reading. And they actually even show adults who do not read fiction are less empathetic than adults who do read fiction. But it starts from preschool. Yeah. So when you look at the research, there is that correlation, right? Being able to, and being in that other world and taking that character's perspective and kind of going in their shoes. But it really does start from those preschool years. And you do see a difference. Willow's bus, I don't even know how it did it. So it's one of those extended buses. So it's like the regular bus with the extender thing and then another regular bus. So it's like two buses. Man, I'm sitting too close to the walls today. And this bus decided it needed to do a U-turn in
why was it even going near a cul-de-sac?
I know. And there's roundabouts. So I don't know why it just didn't go up a roundabout. But anyways, it went into a cul-de-sac, like a residential cul-de-sac, thinking it could pull a Yui in the cul-de-sac. It could not. And so it crashed into like this woman's fence and like ran over stuff on her lawn. And so now it's completely across the cul-de-sac, the back end in one lawn and the front end in another lawn. But Willow got off. Eventually, they were stuck on the bus for a while and everyone's getting upset. But everyone's on their phone and everyone's just like, whatever. But she was looking around at the neighbors and there was a neighbor who was upset. And she went, when they got off the bus, the first thing she did was went over and said, oh my gosh, are you okay? Because it was the woman whose like fence or whatever got hit, right? And she's like, oh, thank you so much, right? Like she's just thinking that there's just all these hooligan kids on the bus and this hooligan bus driver. And that's one thing, like I see kids, I see that correlation even just in real world outcomes, right? And all the other kids are like, what are you doing? But then this woman was like, oh my gosh, like, let me get some basketballs. I've got a basketball hoop here. You guys can hang out because they were stuck there for a while, right? Yeah. And it was kind of cool just to see that. I don't know. I go on tangents, so I'm sorry if I'm missing.
It's all part of it. Like you're talking about all the stuff that he's talked about in the article as well, right? The one thing that I thought was funny that he calls out is a suggestion on a way to bore children to get them into that state is to take them to an older relative's house and force them to listen to a long adult conversation about family members they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm like, oh my God, that's like 90% of my childhood was sitting in some stuffy old front living room listening to people I didn't know talk about other people I didn't know, and I was not allowed to say anything or move. I just had to sit there and listen to it. I don't think it was because my mother was fostering imagination. I think it was because she was mean and just forced me to do it. But it's funny to hear that's part of it, right? And he does go into talking about leaving screens at home, like just don't bring them, right? Make the kids go out in the world without them. And that's what you're just talking about, right? Like figure out how to interact with the world. And it's interesting because I think it's interesting to me that so many components of what he's talking about are tied to the pressures that parents feel these days, right? Like we just had a conversation around our approach to our kids. Like I don't usually know where my children are. Like that may sound horrible, but I don't. Like they'll tell me. One of them typically tells me what the other's doing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And if I need them, I will reach out to them. But it's very sharp contrast to other friends of ours who have trackers on their phones, who are constantly watching. So yeah, your mom, I know she listens to us, but she tracks your father quite closely. But from a parenting perspective, it's like, what are you going to do with that information is always what I come back to. Like, okay, so I can see that she's in trouble, right? Like, okay, my first question is, why'd you go there? And there's usually some form of semi-rational teenage adult brain logic. Well, because we were in the pool and the light went out, we thought, whoa, it'd be really cool if and then there's 17 different steps of things I don't care about that took them ultimately to the place that I think they shouldn't have been. But at the end of the day, they thought there was a logic to it. what is going to change if I'm freaking out about it? And I want to be really clear. That doesn't mean we don't have conversations about, hey, that was dumb. Don't ever do that again, right? But me being stressed and worried and freaking out, so the second they walk through the door, I am on them and exploding is
And
never going to
we've
work.
never had to because they've learned to navigate the world, right? Like they really, I don't, well, we came home. We were gone all afternoon. We came home and there's no Willow. Neither of us had any clue.
No.
We looked at her phone, no idea. She came back dirty, head to toe, she's climbing trees apparently,
Yeah.
but no clue where she was. And she was gone all afternoon. Like I hadn't seen her since this morning,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, like, and it's not negligent parenting, but I have faith that they know how to navigate the world.
And again, to your point, it's a build up to that, right? Like we didn't just leave her in a park one day and say, good luck, right? Like
Although in some countries they do, like
totally.
that's a total transition to teenager, like 13 get dropped. It's, I think, some Nordic country where they drop them in the mountains and like, okay, see you tomorrow. Like, gotta find your
That
way
said,
home.
I guarantee there's some skills they've taught them before that
I
point.
am sure.
Yes, I don't think it's just hey, you're 10 years old, good luck.
The problem is, I think people have still, even though it's so rare, kidnapping, like something like 98% of kids who are taken are brought back within like an hour. And when they are taken, it's usually the other parent who doesn't have custody for them, right? Like there's just no crimes on children anymore. And yet that's what we have in our mind. Oh my gosh, someone's taken them. Oh my, that's why I need to track just in case, just in case. But all of this monitoring and supervising is a problem.
Mhm.
And that's why our kids are anxious and they don't persevere and they can't, there's no independence. I mean, we talk about this all the time.
Well, what it essentially boils down to is for all those older people that are saying that this generation is a bunch of snowflakes, it's your fault because you overparented and you tracked and you put rules and like take a step back and realize what skills should they have been taught to make them capable of a functioning in a way that you thought they should function. And there's the gap,
Yeah.
right? Simple as that.
And with the boredom piece, like the Arctic parents, I mean, no 4-year-old, 6-year-old can sit there for 6 hours watching a feather drop. And so they keep them far away, right? So they can still see their children across the ice. I don't know what would happen if there's a polar bear. I'm sure the kids know what to do. Yeah.
Run.
I'm sure the kid's going to figure it out. But, you know, like the kids are like 500 meters, 100 yards. I don't even know, but they're far away.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, when I read it, I can't remember how far she said, but it looked like I would say at least half a kilometer, half a mile away. And they're playing because they know they can't sit there and watch, but they can't also come and disrupt the ice, right? And so they need them far away, and the kids got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be awful. Like as a former child that had to sit outside of places or in places, that'd be awful.
Oh man, I would make like igloos. I'd be like digging tunnels. And Winnipeg was awesome. We dug tunnels all the time. I did hear one year a tunnel did collapse on a child.
But I think everybody heard that story. Yeah. And if I took a poll, I'm pretty sure all my friends were accounted for. Yeah. I don't think any one of us ever got trapped in the tunnel. No. And if they did, it was because of an older sibling that kicked the tunnel in. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, I think it always comes back to this fact that we need to start giving our kids more independence, more responsibilities, day by day, week by week. What's one little thing more that you can start doing? Maybe they're not, cooking the full meal, but just so you know, tonight, Andy and I were busy and I asked my 13-year-old to make us our salmon dinner tonight. And she's like, yeah, I totally will. And she hopped right to it. Right. And so maybe they can help season. Maybe they can help prep the salad, right? Maybe they can, like, what is it that they can do and start doing? And siblings, how can they start helping out too, right? Like I had Maya take Willow to, I can't even remember, some practice or something, just because we're busy and they need to help each other out, and they do.
And I was out of town for that, but I did see that departure on the video camera and it made me laugh because it was literally, I couldn't see Willow, but I could hear Willow clattering all her gear to the back of the car and having to open it by herself as her sister sat there and sighed that she was taking so long. And then something fell And then I heard Willow go, "Oh, ow, and then she fought it all the way in, and I think believe Maya sighed again, and then they got in the car and drove away. So it was a great departure. One of our children nearly got crippled, and the other just was impatient.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of this, but
Cool.
I will let you know. I'm sure there will be something out of there that
There
comes.
will be.
But it's all the same. It's all stuff that we've been talking about. It's just looking at it differently.
No screens. It's parents' fault.
I could add one more piece, but you probably got to get going. The only other thing that I would say is, one book that I was reading, just talking about like, stop reading parenting books, stop listening to parenting podcasts. You just know, just
other parenting podcasts.
Follow your intuition, right? But and I guess I'm like, yeah, like her response. I mean, this was another investigative journal, but she didn't have any data to base that on, other than we've been parenting kids for a millennia. So why all of a sudden do we need Dr. Spock? Although Dr. Spock was probably onto something, because the parenting books these days are not that helpful.
Yeah, continue.
But what this woman is saying in the Hunt Gather Parent, I think it's Micheline Duclef, is no, we don't know how to parent. But until recently, they had great-great-grandmothers and grandmothers and mothers who were there. And she's like, when I went to these villages, I didn't know whose baby was whose. The baby was being passed around. Everybody was helping each other. It wasn't a village, but they for sure had at least 5 people who were all there, and they were teaching, And so a new mom who was having problems nursing, which happens in, in every clan, there was an older woman there who was helping support her, right? Yeah. And so there were teachers there that passed that on. And again, we're isolated now. Yeah. And so we're trying to do our best without that knowledge and wisdom.
And the only thing I was going to say on that as well is yeah, we've been parenting for forever, but the main difference is to extend on what you're saying, where we don't have the blueprint for that or the support system or whatever. What we do have replaced is endless nonstop fear and news and stuff being shoved at people. So yeah, you're right. The parenting has been occurring for forever, but never before has there been a business about making you feel inadequate and scared about how you parent to foster how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
That'd be my only thing.
Totally. All righty.
Well, Beans.
Thank you.
Thank you for such an insightful and insulting podcast.
I'm sorry. You are not a Neanderthal.
It's too late.
You're not a Neanderthal. I love you.
I love you too.
Handsome man.
Yeah.
You are.
All right. Good day, everybody.